Welcome back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi Guapamoto, your favorite Bitcoin educator in the space. And today I want to talk about something extremely important. This is not going to be a one video thing. This is a huge topic. Blacks for Bitcoin, okay? This is my thing. I'm starting this. It is extremely important, not only for black people who are a little bit older, but especially the Gen Zers, the people who are a little bit younger, to get into Bitcoin while it's still affordable and before it is captured by mega corporations, because Bitcoin allows for the elevation of the black community for multiple reasons. All right. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, man. It's time to watch the party die. There is way too much going on for you not to be paying attention. Okay. And Bitcoin's not just for black people. Obviously, Bitcoin is for anyone. It is literally for anyone, which is why black people need to be a part of the network more than anyone else. Okay. This is my opinion. Let's get into it. So first off, why Bitcoin? Why blacks for Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin represents decentralized finance. You do not have to rely on the classical or traditional financial institutions, which have historically disenfranchised and blocked access to capital for African Americans, right? This is literally true. If you don't think that's true, you're coping and you might be a racist, okay? Because that's literally true that that's happened in real life, okay? Redlining was the act of banks not allowing African Americans back in the 1930s to have the opportunity to gain equal housing, right? This is why they needed the Housing Act of 1968, okay? That went on for more than 38 years, where black people had a harder time getting loans for home ownership. Okay. That happened in real life. That was the doing of a traditional financial institution like a bank or a credit lender or whatever you want to call it. Bitcoin bypasses this because it gives you, number two, right here, financial sovereignty. Financial sovereignty. What does that mean? That means that you as an individual have control over your assets and control over your money, okay? When you try to get a house, you typically don't have control over the house. You have a loan from the bank that's giving you essentially a bill to pay every month. That's your mortgage. And they are allowing you to live in that house that you don't own. You pay that debt off every month. You don't own the house. The same way that you don't own your car, you get a car loan. All right. You get an auto loan. Okay. The same way you don't actually own that stuff that you're getting with buy now, pay later when you do Klarna or whatever else services they offer. You don't own that stuff. It might be in your house, but let you have 4 installments on a TV that you're paying off later, buy now, pay later. Watch how quick that comes back to bite you. If you think that you actually own that TV and you stop paying that payment. You don't own that stuff. This is the plan, not only for black people, but for all people who are not in the 1%. They want you to rent everything and to own nothing. Okay. This is a 100-year-long plan, and it's coming to fruition because wages stay down while prices go up. So you cannot own stuff. You're only allowed to rent it or pay it in installments. And those installments typically have interest, meaning that you'll never actually own it. And then the people who actually have stuff get richer because you're paying them interest on top of the actual good itself. So when you become a sovereign individual, you have control over your assets. Okay. Bitcoin is for anyone. I should say anyone here, not everyone. Bitcoin is for anyone, not everyone. Okay. What do I mean by that? Not everyone's going to get what I'm saying. You need to have a certain level of humility. And you have to have a certain level of intelligence to understand what I'm talking about. That's facts. People want to sit here and try to coddle you and be like, oh no, everyone can not everyone's going to understand what I'm saying. Not everyone's going to understand what I'm saying. It's going to go right over your head. And then later on, you'll come asking me for stuff. But the people who get it early are going to have the best ability to benefit from this new system. All right. Because the current system, as you can tell, it's not really working. It's not really working out well for people. Right. So there's no third parties involved. That means that there's no bank or any credit union that's going to be denying you loans. They're not going to be denying you access to credit. They're not going to be denying you access to property. They're not going to be denying you access to the stock market. They're not going to deny you housing. They're not going to be denying you anything, right? There's no one to deny you. You cannot be denied. The only person who can deny you from access to Bitcoin is yourself. You can ban yourself from Bitcoin because you're extremely arrogant. Perhaps you think, oh, well, this is a scam. I know better than this guy. I know better than Wall Street. I know better than all these billion-dollar asset managers. I know better than all these companies. I know better than all these pension funds. I know better than all these universities. I know better than everyone. So you're going to go do something else, to which I say, truly, best of luck. I really, really do hope it works because I don't want you to suffer. I'm telling you, you will suffer horribly if you do not hold hard assets. Bitcoin just happens to be the hardest asset. If there was a harder asset, I would just be promoting that. I'd be talking about that. I'd be trying to educate people on that. This is the hardest one. I have no loyalty to this thing. This is literally nothing, right? This is a set of rules and code. There is no Bitcoin cheerleading squad, right? It's just that this is the safest thing to put your money in if you want to preserve your purchasing power as you go into the future. What's another reason blacks need to be a part of the Bitcoin network? Global remittance, right? There are a lot of, and this goes for all minorities, really. Again, doesn't have to just be minorities. If you have people who live in Africa that you know, right? Maybe you're a foreigner, you moved away from Nigeria to come to America to build a better life or whatever you wanted to do. If you have access to Bitcoin, you're able to send global remittance for an extremely cheap price. You're also able to send a greater volume of value, and you're able to send it a lot quicker with greater final settlement, right? Let's say you want to try to send money to Palestinians, right, who are being persecuted out in Palestine. Sometimes there's no guarantee that your money is going to make it to the people that it needs to get to. The money can be blocked, it can be banned, it can be frozen. The same way that the truckers in Canada, whether you agree with what they were doing or not, they got their money frozen. You could not send them money through Cash App or through PayPal. They got their money frozen because that money is controlled. The on-rails to that network, that's traditional finance, that can be frozen and censored by people who don't like you or who don't like the things that you're doing. All right. If there's a government doing a genocide and you try sending money through a system that they control with their internet, the money's not ever going to get there. Facts. All right. If it has to go through a bank in a place where they don't like what you're doing with the money, it's going to get frozen. That's literally true in real life. With Bitcoin, there is no intermediary to stop you from sending money. There's also no high fees that you have to pay a bank for converting your currency into something else or for them allowing you to use their on-ramps to send the money internationally. There is no fee to pay for a large institution. The only fee that you pay is a small percentage to the miners. The miners are the ones who promulgate, they send out the Bitcoin transactions so that way people can use the coins that you send them. And that fee can typically be less than $2, right? You could send $1 billion. The size of the transaction doesn't matter. It's the fees on the network. It's the amount of block space on the network. You could send $1 billion for 50 cents. That has been done before. Someone sent a $2 billion transaction for about $3 in fees. So global remittance is another important reason. You can also use Bitcoin anywhere. You're not going to be able to go to some country and have them say, oh, well, we don't use that currency here. Especially as we transition into the future, you're going to be able to use Bitcoin in more places globally. You already can use Bitcoin anywhere in the world. It's just a matter of how many people accept it in that place. As Bitcoin is more widely adopted, you will be able to bring all of your net worth to another country and escape. I know Malcolm X, he spoke on the fact that blacks should be returning to Africa, right? They shouldn't even have to want whites to have to send them there. They should want to return to their homeland and try to build from there, since America clearly doesn't want them, right? that wasn't really a super feasible idea. But with Bitcoin, if you could take your entire net worth and then start to grow a community somewhere else in the world, doesn't have to be Africa, anywhere in the world. You could leave a hostile government. If you're living somewhere in Russia or in China or North Korea, you can take your entire net worth and escape to any country in the world. And you can bring your net worth with you with Bitcoin. And then finally, wealth building through hard asset ownership. Okay. This is the key. Again, this applies to anyone. If you do not hold hard assets, you're going to get poorer. Why is that? What's a hard asset? What do I mean by hard? I mean that it's hard to produce. It's very hard to make more of cheaply. All right. That's why gold is a hard asset. You can't just make gold from nothing. You have to spend money on mining equipment. You then need to spend time looking for where the gold might be. And then you have to use effort and electricity to try to mine the gold out of the ground and not get crushed in the mine and killed, right? Then you have to extract that gold. Maybe you have to siphon it out from the dirt. Then you need to melt that down. There's a lot of proof of work involved with creating a very clean gold coin or a gold nugget or a gold bar, which is why it has so much value. Someone had to put in a lot of work to get that commodity, right? The same is true with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, you have to buy the mining equipment. You then have to use a lot of electricity. And then you have to try to find the gold nugget. The gold nugget is the hash. You have to try to find the hash for the block. And it takes a lot of proof of work to produce a Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin mining works. That's part of where Bitcoin gets its value. The other part is because of its high level of scarcity. Again, gold's not just sitting on the street everywhere. It's pretty scarce. All right. It has a certain inflation rate, but it's scarcer than a lot of other things. Okay. Houses are pretty scarce compared to dollars. Dollars are soft money. You can just create dollars out of thin air if you have a printing press. That's what the government does. They issue treasuries, they issue bonds, they issue debt to other countries. That's why the deficit keeps going up. That's part of why it keeps going up. The United States continues getting deeper and deeper in debt, and they cannot fund or pay off all this debt, right? So what do? They print money to make up the difference. When you can print money, that means that your asset's very soft. When you print money, you're making the money more abundant. The money's not getting rarer when you print it. You're making it less rare because there's more of it. You cannot make any more Bitcoin. There'll only be 21 million. It's a super hard asset. There will always be more houses. There will always be more money. There will always be more gold. They can just keep digging up more gold. That's why they keep finding more. All right. If they stopped finding all the gold today, if all the gold on earth was mined today, the price of gold would skyrocket hugely because it would be a super hard form of money. But it's not a super hard form of money. It's only slightly hard compared to dollars, compared to houses. When you look through history, right, we have situations like the Tulsa, Oklahoma incident where there was a race riot that was used to take down Black Wall Street. In the Bitcoin network, because it's decentralized, there is no central point of failure where they can come and try to destroy your city or destroy your stock market or destroy your wealth building that you've worked so many years to create, right? There is nothing to break. There's nothing to take away from you. They would have to take it away from everyone, which obviously is not possible. Otherwise, they would have already tried doing something like that. Bitcoin allows for financial inclusion. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to say here. Financial inclusion. There is no loan denial. There is no anything being denied from you because of the way that you look, because of your sexual orientation, because of your gender. Okay. This is women for Bitcoin. This is blacks for Bitcoin. This is all minorities for Bitcoin. This is whites for Bitcoin. Okay. This is whites for Bitcoin because it doesn't matter if you have a lot of dollars or a lot of paper currency. If your paper currency becomes worthless, you need to own assets. You need to own assets. Now, for some people, it might be a little bit harder to own assets because there might be roadblocks in your way, whether they're systemic or whether it's generational or whether it's the fact that you just don't have enough money because your wage is so low and they don't allow you to get ahead. And it's hard to save money in a system where inflation only gets faster and faster. How do you get ahead? You have to buy a hard asset while you can. I'm not saying you have to buy a whole Bitcoin, but what I am telling you is people who even have 1%, 0.01% of a Bitcoin are going to have an insane amount of financial leverage and an insane amount of purchasing power in the future. How much is 1% of a Bitcoin? As I'm making this video, it's about $650, $650, right? $20 a month, $30 a month, a little bit a month is going to build you up to get you to 1% of a Bitcoin for now. There might come a point where 1% of a Bitcoin is worth $6,000. Now it's going to take you maybe a couple of years to save up. Then it's going to be 60,000 for 0.01. All these things are coming. All you have to do is wake up, use your eyes, do some research. I can't do it all for you, but I am trying to help. So, blacks for Bitcoin, man. Let's lock in, okay? Because right now our community is completely cooked. All right? Let's not pretend, right? We're not just doing so fantastic. You're getting cooked, you're getting fried, you're getting laughed at. People are laughing at you. You're a joke. You're a joke. You know what I mean? You're all just a bunch of rappers and entertainers, right? And the ones who aren't, you're just brokies and you're ghetto. And you're wage slaves. You're the new age slave, okay? The new age slave is not just black, by the way. It's every race. The new age slave is, there's the rich, they're not slaves. And then there's poors. You're all slaves. Doesn't matter what race you are. If you're super delusional, you know what I mean? If you're a super ignorant white person, you know, who's also a brokey and you're poor, you might think, oh, well, I'm not as much of a slave as those darkies. Like, no, you make the same wage, which means you're a slave because rich people find you disgusting. Okay, you're just scum. Doesn't matter what you look like. That's facts. So in order to get out of the rat race, I would suggest you buy something that goes up in value, increases your purchasing power, and stops you from getting poorer. Because holding dollars for the rest of your life is only going to make you more and more of a brokey. That's why people try to buy assets when they get money. They try to buy houses and they rent them out or whatever they do, right? They try to buy stocks because stocks go up in value, right? That's why they go so hard on their 401k and their Roth. They buy assets, right? If you don't get that, then best of luck to you. You're probably not going to make it, straight up. That's just facts. You're probably not going to make it. More on this coming in the future. Hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have something controversial to say, please leave it in the comments. I am no coward. I will confront you. We can have a conversation. We'll break it down. Please, please, please stay woke, right? Not the bad kind of woke that turns you into a libtard moron loser, but woke as in you are aware of what's happening to you in real life and how you're getting poorer and how there's a system in place to try to keep you on a hamster wheel until you die. If you don't want to do that, then follow me for more and I'll try to get you out of this. Stack sats or die trying.